Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome back. Game number 2 between FXO Filthy and EG's Idra. This is again a Terran vs. Zerg. This time we are here on Typhoon Peaks. In game number 2 in the series between these two players, in the last game, Idra did end up winning. Filthy went for a mech-heavy build, very slow, very immobile, doesn't allow for a lot of harassment, and as a result, Idra was just able to take complete map control and with some great infestor play, just absolutely dominated the Hellion Thor heavy build that Filthy was going for. I think had Filthy incorporated some more tanks into his build, he would have been in a better position. Tanks do a decent job of keeping those infestors at bay and not letting them hold on to that neural parasite for the entire length of it. But as a result, again, Idra was able to take control of the Thors and just mop up the remaining units that Filthy had, and yeah, it was just too much. Switching to Roaches too, that made for quick dropping of that Hellion Thor mix. So anyways, we are here in game number 2, this time on Typhoon Peaks. Let's take a quick look at the map. Right outside of the main base, we do, of course, have this natural. There is only one large entrance initially into the natural expansion. We do also have these destructible rocks that later in the game make for a second entrance. So relatively vulnerable, especially late game. Very easy for an opponent to push on into. He does need to work for 2 sets of destructible rocks, but still, that avenue is definitely there. Just notice the wide mouth into that expansion, though. Makes it a little more difficult. We can see right now, Filthy doing the same thing he did last game, putting his initial barracks and supply depot at the bottom of his ramp, and you're probably going to be seeing him go for an expansion sometime soon here as well, because last game he did go for a somewhat early expansion. It wasn't super early, but refinery just about finished. Time to saturate that. Idra going for that fast expo as well. Definitely the case nowadays with these large maps with so many expansions in the 1v1 map pool. You are seeing a lot of macro heavy play. It seems to work the best, and it seems to be the case that a lot of players are definitely favoring that. So anyways, Idra now going to be coming out that spawning pool, probably going to be holding off on the extractor, wants to accumulate some more minerals, letting him get out those extra drones, doesn't want to worry about Vespian quite as of yet. That's also going to let him get those 2 queens right away as soon as that spawning pool hatches and his expansion is up and ready to go. Taking a look over here for Filthy, doing that exact same opening. We saw him go for that Reaper opening last game as well. Now, last game, unfortunately, he didn't actually move into Idra's base to do any harassment with that initial Reaper. So hopefully this game he does in fact do that. Would definitely like to see some Reaper harassment, and he's coming out with that second Reaper right now as well. SCV Scout checking to see if any units, any Zerglings or anything like that are going to be pushing out from Idra. And we have another SCV going out. So I wonder if he's going to be trying to do some bunker play here with these Reapers. That is quite possible. Here comes these 2 SCVs moving on in right now. If nothing else, they're going to add distracting fire for this initial Reaper. Is he going to catch the drone scout? Walking right by it, but not killing it, not going for it at all. Decided to just leave it. We do have the second Reaper right now as well, and an SCV moving on down, and man, just letting that drone get a full scout of his base. He doesn't care though, trying to come down with this bunker right now, and here goes. This is a very important time right now. Idra needs to do what he can to kill off these SCVs. One SCV is down. Going to be going for the second SCV after he takes care of this Reaper. Pulling that Reaper away. Reaper's going to want to come back down. 2 more Zerglings moving on down. Are they going to kill it? Yes, they do. They kill off that SCV. There are no more SCVs in sight right now, so unfortunately for Filthy, going to be forced to cancel this right now. Idra coming out with 4 more Zerglings. Isn't overcommitting though. You can see it's not like he's doing 8 or 10 or 12 Zerglings right now. Just coming out with those 4, just enough to defend, and then the rest of his larvae he is using on drones. So very great play there by Idra. Of course, we expect nothing less from the Zerg King himself. And we just still have these 2 Reapers on the board. Overlord did spot that, so Idra is going to be prepared. Should be moving down his Zerglings as well as his Queen. Should be enough to fend him off. And here we go. 1 drone down. And how many is he going to be able to get? Going to be starting to target fire down. And these Zerglings doesn't want to be on the creep, though. It's letting those Zerglings catch up. Definitely wants to avoid that. And another Queen moving down. And here we go. Queen's going to be dropping the Reaper, though. Is he going to get away? Very close. Trying to move on the backside. And he may just make it. Jumping down the cliff just in time. 1 HP left. That is 1 Hero Reaper, 2 kills, and time to head back home. So great job there by him. Really surprised. I was very close, just narrowly escaped with his life. And right now, Idra is just macroing up. We can see very nice saturation here on the expansion. Has that layer coming in right now as well. Still hasn't worked on that metabolic boost. Decided instead to go for that very fast layer. And we are seeing the exact same thing as we saw last game from Filthy. Filthy is going to be going for this very mech-heavy play, opening up with just a few things. Couple Marines, Marina Marauder, and a couple Reapers. And it's just the same thing he did last game, the mech-heavy play. Apparently, that is how he is comfortable playing against Zerg. He did, I mean, he did okay last game. You know, he didn't die early on. It just, again, it's so immobile. It makes it very, very hard. You definitely have to, you definitely need to be prepared for an intensive game that's very macro heavy, because your Zerg opponent is going to be able to freely expand. And I think Idra, fully aware that this is happening, he is expecting to just continue up this expansion. We can see that he has scouted exactly what his opponent's going for, so he does know at this point that there are going to be quite a few factory units coming out from his opponent, Filthy. Now, taking a look here for Idra getting that Spire out right now, also going to be coming out with that next extractor. He's sitting on 4 extractors right now, so very, very Vespian heavy, just now working into that metabolic boost. And you may wonder, why is Idra waiting so late in the game? Well, he knows what his opponent was going for. He knew what he wanted for last game, that mech heavy play. And as a result, he knew that he didn't really necessarily need speedlings that early on in the game. He wasn't going to be seeing some super early pressure. Would really like to see Filthy move out with those Hellions, though. He could do a lot of damage against Idra right now if he pushed out with those. Now, Idra spotting the Hellions, going to be dropping that Spinecrawler. Excellent response by him. We do have the centrifugal hooks coming out as well. And Idra may, in fact, actually be going for some sort of a Baneling bust somewhat early in the game. Doesn't really need Banelings against the mech play so much. They do pretty well against the Hellions, but not that good against those Thors, unfortunately. We're going to follow these guys around, and here comes a push, and a bit of miss micro there by Filthy, and Filthy, I don't even know what to say. What is Filthy doing? There's a lot of SCVs here. I don't know why, but he doesn't like his SCVs. Blue Flame Hellions, though, should do a lot of damage, and look at that. They managed to stop a ton of those Banelings, but man, that was a heavy loss of SCVs. More Hellions streaming on in. Wants to grab them together and do what they can to take out the worker count here from Idra. Moving on into the main, taking a few shots from the Spinecrawlers, getting us around on both sides, little Queens, Spinecrawlers, and Zerglings, and drones moving in on the action as well. And Filthy just threw away a whole lot. Does have some Marauders hanging out. I mean, I was literally speechless. That is exactly what happened. I was completely speechless. I have no idea why Filthy brought so many SCVs. I mean, I know why. He was, looking to repair, looking for some distracted fire, but that is very risky, very risque. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not gonna stop talking right now. So, anyways, we do have 2 missile turrets coming in the main base there for Filthy. Filthy also getting a missile turret down over there. I think he's expecting those mutas, in fact, and obviously that is rightfully so, because we do have that Spire on the board. 2 mutas making their way on in, and we are seeing a big counter push right now from Idra. Moving out with those Zerglings over there, and Muta is going to be hitting the main, so moving for that distracting fire. Needs to be very wary, though, of those missile turrets and that Thor there as well. Now, I think the good thing is there's not a lot on the ground. These Zerglings can actually do a pretty good mop-up job here, and magic boxing that Thor, surrounding it with the Zerglings as well. That Thor is going to drop, and next in line, I believe, is going to be that missile turret, but SCV's moving on in, and almost getting the repair down on that Thor, but no, Idra pulling back just in time, managing to save 3 of his Mutalisks there. A few more Zerglings on the board as well. And taking a look at the supply there, we have 73 as opposed to 59. Idra definitely in the better position at this point. Also, take a look at that unit station. We do see 8 Mutalisks on the board and 11 Zerglings, as opposed to 1 Marauder and 3 Hellions. This is not looking good for our buddy Filthy at all. And man, I don't know, man, that push with those SCVs just slays me. He completely threw away so many workers. And look at this, a little bit of miss micro here again, getting surrounded by those Zerglings, taking so many unnecessary hits. Unfortunately for Filthy, gonna be forced to push back here as well because of this heavy cloud of Mutalisks moving straight across the board. He's definitely not going to be able to contain with that, with just those Hellions. Those Hellions are definitely not enough. We do have 1 additional Thor on the board. Obviously, Filthy lost that first, coming out with a couple more Thors as well. Idra moving down into his 3rd expansion right now and continuing up that creep spread, and Idra can just do what he can to harass with these Mutalisks. It's going to be really hard for him to actually push on the main base because there's so many turrets right now, but Filthy is also going to have a little bit of a difficult time. His 3rd is going to likely be right here. I can't imagine he would try to pull a 3rd down here. It'd just be way too far away, way too difficult for him to defend. So I'm going to guess a 3rd would be here for Filthy, and the 4th would probably be here as well, if he does eventually decide to move into that. We can see right now, sitting on actually 4 factories and just the 1 barracks, is also going to be coming out with stim packs, so wants to get some of those upgrades for the bio units he does have. Moving on down, Idra is going to be working to saturate this expansion. It's just about to pop, so here we go, a bunch of drones making their way on down right now. Also going to be destroying these back rocks, going to allow him to much more easily defend this base, allow for very quick reinforcements from any Zerglings. And again, here we are with this heavy Mutalisk cloud cloud moving across the board. Idra is just continuing to maintain map control. I feel like this is the exact same story that we saw last game. Just total map control by Idra, and not a whole lot that Filthy can do to push out. Now we can see a decent amount of Thors continuing up that Hellion production as well, and then also throwing in some Marauders into the mix. I'm going to guess because he is expecting a possible Roach transition, and look at that, Idra, of course, going for those Roaches. So with that Roach transition, the Marauders are going to help quite a bit. Obviously, those Roaches pretty much demolish the Hellions, and we are seeing a big push come down right now for Filthy. If he does not do a lot of damage, whoa, losing a bunch of Hellions out to the Mutalisk sitting right there. Those Hellions, of course, much faster than the Thors and Marauders. They did pull ahead and got a few shots there from those Mutalisks, so Idra needs to do what he can. This actually could be quite a dangerous push right now. I think if anything, Filthy should have brought those SCVs that he did in that initial Hellion push with this. I think he would have been much more suited. But here we go right now. Roach is pulling forward, going to be moving forward and trying to surround. And actually, it looks like these Mutalisks are going to get dropped very quickly. Roaches, though, target firing down those Thors and dropping so incredibly quickly. These Hellions doing absolutely nothing against those Roaches. Hellions are very, very bad at killing Roaches. And this continuous Roach production is going to take down everything that Filthy has. Filthy just did not have enough to deal with those Roaches. Even with that transition into Marauders, it wasn't enough to handle it, and these Roaches should be able to mop up what's left of these two Thors and that one Hellion. This is not looking good at all for Filthy. We do still have, I think we still have some Mutalisks on the board somewhere, but they're not coming into play right now at this moment. Idra is just going to pump out these Roaches, and this, of course, is going to be very, very effective against what Filthy is doing. Filthy trying to move into a third. I don't think it's going to happen right now, and there's the GG from Filthy. So Filthy, 2 games in a row, getting mopped up by Roaches. A good response by Idra, you know, starting out with just the kind of Zergling Muta build, allowing him to have map control. And then once he saw that very, very heavy mech play again from Filthy, he just moved into straight up Roaches. And again, so very effective against those Hellions and against those Thors, especially when they can get up close to the Thors and target fire them down. So this was a good series between the two. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Again, stay tuned later in the day for some strategy videos from me. And as always, guys, keep watching and keep owning. Just run over all of the items up for grabs. Firstly, we have the Razer Spectre, that is the StarCraft 2 gaming mouse. Next up, we have the Razer Marauder, the StarCraft 2 gaming keyboard. And then lastly up for grabs, we have the Razer Banshee, the StarCraft 2 gaming headset. Now, there are going to be individual videos for each specific item, and you can actually just go ahead and click on the item that you're interested in winning. But before you go anywhere, let me tell you how you win. It's pretty simple. Firstly, you just need to be subscribed to my channel. Secondly, you need to like and favorite the video of the item that you would like to win. And then lastly, you just need to leave a comment below and say, I would like to win this item.